Okay, so hopefully you can hear me now. Just going to check my connections. They look good. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me now. Just going to check my connections. They look good. Okay, I'm a little bit further away, just making sure this remote area is working. Okay, I'm a little bit further away, just making sure this remote area. Thank you so much, Sandy. Okay, now comes the fun part. I get to set up. Now I know we're live and we're working. Everything's going as planned. I'm going to try to get the party going now. We do have one thing to do left to the princess, and that's put her goggles on, which, of course, she likes the least amount. But we're all about safety and protection, and because we're going to go out on the big roads, we're going to get a walk. It's okay, good girl. And Princess is the most hyper one, so she is a little more challenging on here, but it's all good. It all works out in good fun. And I'm just making sure I have this set right. Come here, pretty girl. You're the prettiest. Yes, you are. This is such an ingenious design, these goggles. I actually used to sell doggles, which are dog goggles, and nothing wrong with them either. They're good, but these are handmade, custom made by the people that manufacture the seat that Princess is in, the motorcycle bike seat. And these are meant to really stay on. It's a lot harder for them to get these off. Okay, good girl. Okay, she's doing really well. By the way, the temperature here is beautiful today. There's almost no humidity. It's a typical summer day, relatively speaking, heat-wise, temperature-wise, and probably the low 80s. But without humidity, it feels wonderful. And what I do is I'm just securing these two, or in case she would get them off, that they wouldn't fall into the roadway. And they would just hang down, and I would be able to stop and reattach them. And as we get going, I'll have more info. So let me make sure we have a good pic of everything going on. It looks like we do. I can give a little more guidance there. I might block out a little bit of your view. I apologize if I do. But it looks like we got a good view there. Okay, pretty. Now she's going to be a lot less active once we get rolling here. And we're about to get rolling here, folks. So the party's about to begin. And it's a fun party. Hope you can still hear me. If you're just tuning in, this is the WooFDriver coming to you live. Okay, pretty girl. And we are about to take a ride. I'm going to check, make sure everything's tight as can be. Okay, pretty girl. Princess is very active. She's about 12 and a half years old, and she's awesome. So you might know me to run all four dogs at one time, which I usually do. I can't ride them all four at one time, though. So this is their time to get a ride. And we usually do this, actually, Princess, come on. Once a week, good girl. And with different dogs, we switch about. Usually I don't have the time to do each one in one day, so I'll do one day and one a couple days later, depending how often I'm riding. Here comes my neighbor. Just yesterday, you saw me on the scooter with 5 dogs. Actually, our little Chinese crested was all training the big dogs. So today, my neighbors never know what I'm up to. Just like I think the people on the WooFDriver channel don't know what I'm up to. I call it the WooFDriver channel because we're doing so many broadcasts. It's the WooFDriver Facebook page. Oh, she's loving it. Okay. Now, Princess this is her 6th or so time. But we're doing it more and more frequently now when we get cooler days like we have today. So you'll see us out more and more, and I'll be taking them to different remote spots. Today I'm going to take her up to a local park we go to. It's actually where I trained a lot of the dogs. Actually, my first Huskies. And they've all been here, but we don't frequent it as much because usually where you go to private grounds where I run the dogs. Because, as you know, it's not, they have leash laws, so it's not cool to have them off leash at these places. And we do a lot of leashless work. The Princess is enjoying it. Now, this is a pretty big roadway here, so I'm going to take our time crossing. And I want to be gentle with Princess, especially, it's not like she's been doing this for years, so I want to go on the curves at a very manageable pace for her. Not that I'm trying to flip this thing over. I don't ride that way even when I'm by myself, but just keeping it cool for her as much as possible. She's loving it. And I'm fortunate enough to live in the country enough that we have back roads that are shaded and through some beautiful Maryland, typical Maryland areas, farms, from dairy farms, horse farms, etc., as well as even golf courses in this area. But we're close enough to the excitement as well when we need to go to stores and entertainment, etc. Okay, this is just a four-way stop sign. All is good. My local FedEx guy, got to give him a heads up. What's up? Shout out, as we say. So I apologize if I lose you. We're going through some of the valley through here, as I said, and the signal's a little limited sometimes. But you're getting a great view right now, and I hope you're really getting to enjoy it, because Princess is just cooperating and having fun. And that's really what it's all about. I so enjoy sharing this with everybody, because it brings joy to my heart when I can give my dogs the love, companionship, and joy that they want. Oh, look at her. She laid down. How cool is that? So she's so comfortable on here. And we've got the wind going in our face. Now remember, the wind is broken by the bike. This bike has a windshield that's adjustable. It's down so I can get some air. I enjoy the winds. But additionally, I'm in front of her, so there's plenty of wind to get broken up before she's riding in it, but it's still lots of fun for her. Just so you know, the speed limit on this road, it's about 40 miles, and we're doing about 40 miles per hour right now. When we get to the park, I will take her off. We're about 10 minutes out from where the park is. Just checking my camera because we broadcast. I'm not sure if you know, but we broadcast through phones. That's the only way right now you can do it on Facebook. So I've got a phone sending the signal out, and just trying to make sure it doesn't fall off. It's pretty secure, but we're on a motorized vehicle, and I can only get it so secure. I hope you are able to keep up with the WooFDriver, because I do a lot of live events, including having a lot of other hosts that speak the same language I do. In other words, they're into the dogs as much as myself, and they talk about all kinds of training aspects and more celebrations through music. Even we've had an animal communicator. Her name's Barbara, and I hope to get her back on here sometime in the near future, as well as other great hosts, such as Britt, bringing you the WooFDriver news, and all kinds of cool stuff. And that's all because we're all animal dog lovers, and this is a great way to send the message, get it out there, and give everybody another outlook on life instead of getting all caught up in the everyday humdrum. I know it surrounds us through the 24-hour news cycle and through a lot of what's posted through Facebook. But this is all good and fun stuff that everybody can learn from in some way or another and enjoy. Some of my fans out there I know live a little vicariously through me. They've had dogs in the past, and they're in a situation now maybe where they can't have a dog, but they like to live that lifestyle through me, which I love. Just making sure everybody's stopping there. I got precious cargo on board. So you're going to get a view of some wonderful countryside here in Maryland, as I said. We're known for horses and seafood because there's the Chesapeake Bay, and of course you're probably familiar with the Preakness, the Triple Crown Steps, and I love horses. I'm not into anything, but it's so beautiful to go in the countryside. Everybody's jumping. They want to get done their day. So beautiful to ride in the countryside. And we do a little mock-up race, really cool, on this actual real horse track we go to here in Maryland. It's privately held, and I'm friends with the owner, so I get to go by and run the dogs on the dog cart, as well as free range them there. Now you can see to my right, I believe they're soybeans. I'm not exactly sure. They look kind of tall for soybeans, but they're not corn. I know we're going to pass cornfields. And here we go. Kick it in a little bit. It's because we're getting a little bit more traveled roads, so the speed limit's a little higher, or at least the pace of traffic. To the left of me, that looks like soybeans too. I think they're both soybeans actually. To the right and to the left, those seem a little dry. Now to the right is corn. I don't know if you can see the whole road view here. Maryland is lots of corn we have, and we do the Silver Queen corn, which is I think one of the few places they grow it in the country. It's just really sweet corn, and some of these places are growing for animal feed as well, not just for human consumption. Big trucks on this road. All good though, all part of our training. When I say training, part of getting Princess comfortable and confident with the roadway. And as we speak, we'll pass by a horse trailer and a huge farm with, again, more soybeans. But if the horses are out, they'll be on these farms coming up to my right. Actually, and to the left, but I'm turning to the right. Good girl, G, good girl. I gave her a little bit of a sled dog command. Had to take the corner a little faster because of the pace of traffic. So I just gave her a little sled dog command to let her know where we're going and how we're doing it. Okay, and to the right, there's also actually a little private runway. I've noticed a plane land and take off there before. I believe it's the owner of the farm. And we're going to kick a little speed up here. Traffic's moving at a quicker pace. Hope you still can hear me. Princess is doing wonderful. We're enjoying it. Temperature's 84 degrees and no humidity, folks. We've got water on board. We stop. Princess will get a drink. I'll take a drink myself. And we'll do a quick walk. I hope to take you with me. As long as our connection holds it out. Again, I keep stressing that because you never know with these in the field broadcasts. Horses, I see a bunch of jumps set up. This is an area they do I think it's called, I can't remember, the hunt, the steeplechase, I forget, but it's a tradition where they run a bunch of horses. And one of the big baseball players, Cal Ripken, lives around here. It's pretty exciting. I've never gone. It's not really a competition. Of a festival. Bunch of horses to my left, folks. You should be able to get a glimpse of beautiful. Princess is picking up on their scent. I see her moving. She's putting her nose out there. Oh, so cool. We're just chugging along, folks. case you're just joining me, I am the WooFDriver. Here on a live broadcast of a motorcycle ride. I'm on a Can-Am motorcycle made by a company called Bombardier. It's a three-wheeled bike. You might know it as a trike, but traditionally trikes have wheels in the back. Can-Am has pioneered to put a way to put the wheels in the front, and that's what they do on this bike. Horse is right to my left, folks. And from their explanation and research, it's a lot safer and more manageable for the driver, and that's why they do it. Very comfortable to ride. You do need a motorcycle license here in Maryland, but I believe there's some states you don't. This bike I'm on is about 5 years old. Can-Am's been making them for about 10 years. Aw, easy. Girl, aw. A little bit of a big curve in the road. Just giving her sled dog commands just to keep her comfortable with the situation. These are big curves. And everybody's in a hurry, so I'm trying to create a traffic jam. Keep up with traffic. G, good girl. Checking if she's good. And this bike's got about 1,000 cc's, if you're familiar with cc's. That's how big the engine is. And the newer ones are actually a lot bigger. I think they're approaching 1,500. But when you get on a motorcycle, this is still fairly heavy, though. This bike's about, I'm going to say 1,000 pounds, I believe. Pretty heavy for a motorcycle. But the new ones, I believe, are about 1,500 cc's. But plenty of speed here for what I do. This is a touring edition, which means it's made for long travel. Take this on the highways and, travel a few hundred miles and feel comfortable in a good position. Whereas they make sporty models that are more hunched over and designed a little more for speed and handling. So Princess's Wolfpack mates are home, and depending on the time of day and how everything's going, I might choose to take another one for a ride. I think Zara's due next. And if it's sunny, though, I might opt for another one of the white dogs because Zara's dark and his coat attracts the heat. If it's overcast and the sun's not beating down, then he's a good candidate. But when the sun's out, the dark color of his coat will absorb the sun and heat him up a little more than it needs to be, whereas the white dogs reflect the sun, the heat, and don't get quite as hot. And it's a difference. I notice it on him. Last time we came, well, one of the few last times we came here, we saw a police dog, and the officer was working with him, and so cool. I'm somewhat familiar with it. My master trainer was the Schutzen trainer. That's German style of protection and military training for dogs. It's most commonly used worldwide, and that's what the officer was training with. So I was familiar with the command that he was doing, and I just stayed out of his way. You can see all the traffic oncoming, and we'll get in that as we head out. We still got about 2 more miles to our destination, folks. I know we're passing a huge farm where they do events here, and they've actually had one of the one of the big dog events, and I was able to come up here and check it out. It's awesome. Sometimes I'll bring Wolfpack, my dogs, and we'll do a little running of the bike or sled on wheels, if you will, and let everybody see how it goes, and help them attract media attention so they can raise more money for the animals' cause that they're representing. Just letting people know I'm taking a left in case they don't see my blinker. There is a lot of traffic behind me. be turning into the fields that we're going to go to, and it looks like there's nobody here, folks. How about Apple? Hopefully we'll on a live broadcast. I can park right in the shade. Awesome ride. Cool. I'm going to turn the bike off so you can hear me a little better, hopefully. And I'm going to get off and say hi to the princess and see how she's doing. How you feeling, Bubs? Okay. And we are still broadcasting. Excellent. And you've got a good view of us. Wonderful. So you can see, I mean, how cool is this? How comfortable is she? And she doesn't even want to get up now. So it's truly awesome. And I love being able to do this. So I hope to answer some of your questions now. Let's see if I can find my phone that I normally use. So we're going to let her relax here since she's so comfortable. Always find when you have a good thing, let it keep going. Let her take it in. And we're sitting in the shade now. So I'm going to tune on where I can sometimes see some of your questions here. And let's see if I can. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sandy, I saw you before I left. So great to see you on there. Thanks so much for joining us. And yep, we're always being safe. Dixie, this is actually about her 6th ride on the motorcycles. Thanks so much for tuning in. But usually, this is one of the rides we've done. Usually I have my wife following us or one of my WooFDriver pit crew members. But today, we're just out here on our own. We've done enough training, and everybody's comfortable enough with it. And we're not going anywhere really that new. So no need for anyone to follow. But she did great, and you can see how comfortable she is. Thanks so much for asking. Hi, Sue. I do I do keep her safe, and she's belted in. She's safer than I am. She went, yeah. Oh, look at her. She's giving everybody a show. Okay, pretty girl. Now what I'm going to do is, since she's been so good with her goggles, I'm going to take them off and let her sit here. She was scratching at them a little bit, and I want to give her, since she did so well and kept them on. You're a good girl. Yeah, look at you, good girl. Stay good girl. Okay, now she's getting ready. Look, she's like, yeah, Dad. Okay, my good girl. So I'm going to try to look at a couple other questions while we sit here. Yeah, what I was saying is she's belted in. There's no way she could get out. The seat's attached and so firmly attached to the bike that it wouldn't come off. I don't know if I cut the straps, it would come off. That's how strong it is. I can't say your name, but thanks so much for saying hello. Hey, Joe, there's really very few helmets you could get for the dog to wear. There may or may not be one or so out there, but it's so hard to put on and do that it creates more of a problem. And she is so well belted into here that it wouldn't be necessary at this point. Yes, Rhonda, she is loving it. Hey, Kelly, thank you so much. Lavella, thank you. And Cynthia is watching. Yes, my wife is checking up on me and seeing that I'm with the princess. And I'd like to wish her a happy birthday. It's a great, great birthday for her. And thanks so much, Lucas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Princess out now. And this is part of her reward. Stay good girl. Good girl. And we're going to get her. Stay. Whoa, good girl. Now she's ready to go. Okay. So what we do is, good girl. Okay, good girl. I'm going to try to come around the other side, folks, so I can show you how we do this. Okay, good girl. See, she's ready to get out, but she can't because she's belted in. And that's the whole idea of the safety measure we use. But what I'm going to do is unbelt her. Stay good girl. Make sure all of them are off. And there's actually this one still on. So there's 3 points that it attaches to. Oh, you're the best. You are the best. And you can see how I lift her. Okay, good girl. Yes, good girl. Okay, stay. She's ready to go. Stay good girl. Okay. Now, folks, I'm going to try to take you with me once I figure this all out. Excuse me for a sec. We're going to take a good walk here. Stay, princess. Good girl. Just trying to adjust here. I got to take the helmet off and I got the earpiece on. A little bit of everything. Okay. And let me put this in the, I want to be safe in the way that I don't want anyone trying to get at my stuff. Let me do this in the back. So what we do here is put this away. My helmet, her goggles, and my goggles too. And then I'm going to come back. Actually, we'll give her a little water. Princess, you like some water? Come here. Come on, good girl. Princess. Good girl. And you probably can't see us yet, folks. Princess. Good girl. Water there. Here, I'm going to show you. Just so you can get a view. Come here. Ready. Want some water? Good girl. And I'm going to grab the phone. Oh, she wanted a lot of water, as you see. Okay. I'm taking the phone out of here, folks. I apologize if it moves around a little bit. Turn this off so we keep the batteries as good as possible. And I'll be adjusted here in 1 sec. Again, I apologize. See her getting a drink. Any questions you may have, please, by all means, go ahead and ask them. Good girl. Okay. And we're all on our way in 1 sec, folks. And here we go. Thanks so much, Rose. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Come on, pretty. We're just taking a walk. Now, where we're at, let me give you a view of this. It's called Oregon Ridge, in case you want to Google it or Google Earth it. And Oregon Ridge is, you can call it a small, I don't know if you'd say mountain range or a mountainous area, because actually there used to be ski lifts here. There used to be skiing, but that's long gone. Probably back in the late 70s they got rid of that. And that's across the street from me. That's part of this complex. This area I'm at are the ball fields up here. And they have soccer, they got baseball, and a lot of people take their dogs up here, do training with them. I've done off-leash training here because it is so, it's not crowded. Usually, when they have ball games here it is, but during the day, it's a pretty quiet place. And actually, I'm going to turn so I can read better. So happy everybody's here. We're on a leash. You're not used to seeing us on the leash, but I keep it on when we're in an area where they ask that it be on, because we have so much time to free range at the other places we go to, that this is a good place to get a little bit of leash work in, as well as keep her leash down, because if someone else comes here, I'm not sure their dog or how they feel about dogs, so I'm always being respectful. Princess is very dominant, so she's going to want to mark every area, but that's okay. This is her time. She can do what she wants. And this is us spending our time together. Great, good girl. Now, where we're going to walk back to is, they've created, I'm not going to call it a sanctuary, but it's a cool area where they put so many bird feeders and planted trees that it attracts a lot of birds and butterflies and all kinds of really cool critters, as well as deer, of course. If you saw one of the broadcasts, I was here with Jag a couple weeks back, and he just I put him in a down position, and he just laid down, and a deer went right by us. It was so cool. So cool. Again, a lot of places we go, we run into deer and farm animals. So they're not as excited, but they still get excited, but not, they've seen them before. It's not their first rodeo, so they don't get too crazy. And again, little nature path running training too. So I'm all open for questions. Now's a great time. If you have them, love to hear them. You can see these bird feeders they've set up. The Princess is just having the time of her life. Remember, a lot of times the dogs don't get as much one-on-one time with me. So this is a great way of bonding with them and spending that one-on-one time with each other, because we took the motorcycle ride and then we came here and got a walk in, got some, might even sit down somewhere and chill. Okay, Rhoda's got a question. How old is Princess? Princess is actually 12 and a half. So she's the oldest of the wolf pack. And she, I got her when she was about 4. The family that had her, she actually had puppies a few times. Not under my, when I was her daddy. She was her former family. And they came to a situation where they had to rehome her. And I was fortunate enough to have found them and learned about the situation and able to open up our home to Princess. And she was with my other 2 huskies who were older at the time, Czar and Hudson, who have crossed Rainbow Bridge long ago. And they're responsible for a lot of what we do, because that's how I got into everything going on. I've always loved huskies, but my first husky, Czar, taught me everything I know. He was a handful, and I had no idea back then how to train them and the kind of activity levels they needed. I understood it once I had them for a while, and I was fortunate enough to go learn through many trainers, none who really had any good answers. And then I found a master trainer who kind of mentored me and made me into the dog trainer and the dog handler that I am today. And he helped me. I learned about all the sports that dogs can do, especially huskies, and he helped me get involved with those as well. So he's retired now, and one of the greatest things besides learning about the dogs that I got out of the relationship is that we became such good friends. And unfortunately, he doesn't live close to me anymore in the same state. He's moved away, but we still stay in contact through Facebook, and we have a lot of other similar interests. So it's pretty cool. But if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would be a husky owner, like be as husky crazy as I am, because they are such a independent breed. They have that wolf-like appearance, and it's no doubt because they're one of the closest breeds to the wolf. And anyone who's had a husky knows about their dominant and independent nature, which makes them extremely hard to train and to control. I just, almost every book you read will tell you never have a husky off leash, and you see me doing it almost every other day or every other adventure we go on. And that's because of the training method that I learned and even further pioneered through my mentor, my master trainer. So that's a little bit on the husky experience. Now we'll get some more questions. Great, Lucas, did you hold the dog seat for trying to get out of the sun here, excuse me. Lucas has asked, did I build the dog seat for the bike? I actually did not. Great question. I really, I've been a motorcycle rider for about 5 years now. I call myself the WooFDriver because of the driving with the dogs. Really, I'll go into a brief description here. A dog driver is typically referred to as someone who drives a sled or a team of dogs. So I didn't want to, I'm not a professional musher in any way. I've done professional mushing, but that's not what I do on any basis. So it's recreational. So I wanted to have a little fun with it and call myself, there goes deer. Look, right, did you folks see that? Princess didn't see it, a baby. Looks like a fawn, I believe, but that means the mom's not too far away. I told you they're lurking back here. So I wanted to have a little fun with it and not be as serious. Additionally, sled dogs are typically not huskies anymore. They're actually more like mutts. They are mixed breeds. They try to produce the best capable dog. So that will include some husky traits and some other breed traits. So huskies, they look like wolves, and I call myself the wolf driver, but getting off topic here a little bit. I drive other vehicles. I used to drive a tractor trailer and everything else. I got into the motorcycle driving, and I said, wow, how cool would this be if I could take my dogs on this? I mean, I love taking my wife, but sometimes to get out there with the dogs would be so cool. So for many years, I looked for ways of doing it, and I've seen a lot of people build custom designs that have been really cool. I found one company called Beast Riders, and coincidentally, they're in Maryland. Here's something over here, just looking. How cool was that? So they're only about an hour away from me. Now, each seat that they manufacture, we'll take a breather right here, folks, we're in the shade. Each seat that they manufacture is handmade, and usually their wait time is anywhere from, I believe, 8 to 10 weeks. So they build it according to your dog's size and to your bike specifications. So I told them the bike I had, and we did measurements on all the dogs to try to get something that would accommodate all of them, and that's how I got my Beast Riders seat. So filling you in on that. Sorry for all the extra information. And I see Barbara's joined us. Hey, Barbara. Barbara, again, is the animal communicator. I know she's got a show coming on. I believe it's tomorrow, maybe tonight, and she can post that here in the comment section. She's been on the WooFDriver channel many a times. She's awesome. Love her shows. You should definitely tune in to her show on her channel, her page, and we hope to get her back on the WooFDriver page in the near future. Good to see you, Barbara. Thanks so much for joining us. And Frida, thank you so much. And Rhoda's asking a question. What do you use to keep their joints healthy and pain-free? Thanks so much for asking that question, Rhoda. You know, I like to say it's hereditary, how arthritis and joint issues act with dogs. I've had dogs in the past, my huskies, where I've used products such as Cosequin, Dasequin, and Rimadyl, which is a prescription-based arthritis medication. Rimadyl, from one of my dogs, did wonders. Probably kept him alive for 2 or 3 years past his joint life, because he was very big for the husky breed, and his mobility was, as he got older, limited because of his size, most likely, and the stress it was putting on the joints, because the breed isn't designed for the size that he was. Now, here goes Princess. Look at this hook. She's doing a roll. Love it. So now, with these dogs, believe it or not, Princess at her age, I've talked about putting her on something, but we haven't, because she shows almost no signs of arthritis when I keep her mobile. And what I mean by that is, if we can't get out to do our activities, our weekly activities, you could start to see her get a little joint discomfort. But if I can keep her on a consistent basis of exercise, then her joints are staying really well lubricated, for lack of a better description. And she's got mobility that's pretty much incredible. The real decline I see is her jumping ability. She's limited on that. But again, she'll surprise me and do it pain-free. So just not as much as she used to when she's younger. So I monitor her really on a daily basis and see how she's acting, and if we need to start any Dasequin or Cosequin or if we would need to go any further, like Arimidol, and I think there's a couple other prescription-based arthritis products. But she's wonderful. I mean, I'm shocked. And again, some of that is hereditary. Her size is typical husky size, so she's not pushing the bounds of being too big for that breed. Like my other dog, his name was Czar, not Zorro, but Czar, C-Z-A-R. And that's how we maintain her. Also, there are things, this is a great question you brought up again, Rhoda. It reminds me, Melissa, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with her, but Melissa, she also broadcasts on the channel, and she has been part of the WooFDriver team before WooFDriver was the WooFDriver. She's been working with me for 15 years plus, I believe now, and she's gotten involved heavily with the WooFDriver project. In fact, she's responsible for posting all these live broadcasts and really making sure everything's in order. But she is a dog lover, animal lover, I should say, and dogs are very close to her heart. She's got an elderly dog who is 16 years old, and she actually does water therapy, and she keeps her dog moving, like I'm talking about keeping Princess mobile, every day. They do an activity, I believe, a walking activity. I believe she even puts her in a dog kind of carrier for a bike so she can get out and be a passenger on the bike. Really cool stuff. And Melissa broadcasts this. She started last week. You can go to the alldognetwork.com, and she gives her own personal experience and advice on her success of keeping her dog so fit at a senior age. I think you'd really enjoy that. Okay, pretty. So we're going to continue our walk. And it's so cool because being around all these dog lovers, and again, that's one of the reasons I love doing the broadcast and having other people broadcast on the channel, because what's right for one dog might not be right for another dog, and what's relates well training-wise, somebody might not be able to digest the way one person says it. They might hear from another person and understand it better, or have another training way that works. So you get that exposure on the channel that I'm trying to create, and it works really well. I know I'm dyslexic, so dyslexic, there's all forms of dyslexia. I know most commonly known as reversing letters and writing things backwards or upside down. I'm not there. I'm just where I can't explain things on paper as well as I can orally, so I learn differently. That's what dyslexia means. And I learned through my experiences that there's so many ways to understand situations and even math problems, etc. And the whole point of, I could go into greater detail, but right side and left side of the brain, logic and formula-based, whatever the case may be, it's pretty interesting how people learn is the bottom line. And that's what I'm getting at, and that's why I try to thoroughly explain what I'm doing and accommodate everybody I can, so maybe you can hear it in different ways. But again, that's what makes it so nice to have other hosts explain their experiences and their expertise and their words to maybe open the door for others. Sorry about that long dissertation there. And Frida, yes, Frida says she has a husky and he's so bad. And you know, that's the point I was at with my first husky. I loved him so much, and he's such a great dog. And huskies remind me so much of wolves, again because of their appearance, but also because of their adventurous ways and their high energy drive. They excite me. They motivate me. They inspire me. But those behaviors unleashed, no pun intended, can be problematic. If you can get a handle on those behaviors, you can enjoy them with your husky and have a really wonderful, interactive, engaging lifestyle. Hey D, raised in Canada, with the Wolf Siberian. Said, sled dogs, please give your pup a hug for me. Thank you so much, D. And I was actually in Banff, Canada, where we were running a team of, I think there was 17 dogs at the Continental Divide. It was breathtaking and one of the most coolest experiences in my life. I was able to do that with my wife and truly loved it. In fact, on one of my websites, there's over 30 websites now, you can actually, I've got some of that footage posted. So yeah, love it. Can't get enough of it. It's funny because these Huskies are a little different than what are typically known as Huskies, because they look a little fuller, and with their white color they almost look like Samoyeds. That's because they're actually woolly coats. A woolly coat means it's a long-haired, double-coated dog. But in the wild, you typically, a woolly coat would be referred to as an anomaly. It doesn't occur as much because it really doesn't help keep them warmer. In fact, it's more of a hindrance. Because if you can imagine, the long hair, if it gets wet, it can freeze. Whereas a short hair husky or a typical husky, the hair is shorter and it dries quicker, so it's less likely to get wet and to freeze up and become a hindrance for the dog, chilling them or becoming heavy on them. And I've seen it happen. But it is beautiful, and of course, we're talking domesticated dogs. They're not out in the wild, so it's perfect for them. It's just a lot to maintain because of the longer hair. When it gets wet, it gets matty and knotted and everything else. That's why we do monthly groomer visits. So Princess is enjoying her walk, and pretty much wherever she wants to go, we can go. We could have done an off leash because there is nobody here, but again, good time for some leash work. She is the hardest to work with on leash because I didn't raise her, and she just got some bad qualities to her on the leash. Come on, good girl. Come on. Just didn't want her to eat anything. She's picked up some negativity from the leash and some bad leash behaviors. So, because I don't use the leash as much, I didn't really have to train it out of her too much. I just don't use it as much. Good time for any more questions. And you can see blue skies. There's some clouds, but not storm clouds. Green fields, we've had a fair amount of rain. We've actually had some major flooding, unfortunately, in an area not too far from here called Ellicott City. Historic area, and it's just crazy what happened there. So we're all praying for everybody there and hoping they can recover as soon as possible. We're heading back to the bike right now. Princess got a great walk in. That's about a half mile around the field. We'll get a little water break in here. Another water before we get back on the bike. Come on, good girl. Good girl. Always training with praise. When praise is one of the best, most comforting things to them. And it's not what you're saying in your voice, but it's just easier for us to call it praise. Put the back in its holder. Okay, and I'm going to hook the mic back up, folks. Okay, I'm hoping you can hear me, folks. I'm hoping back with you. Let me see, we're getting back on the bike. And for some reason, let's see. Yeah, I think we're back on. Cool, I'm just going to check my phone while I do this here. I'm going to get her some water in a sec. And let me just check and make sure you can hear. Okay. here, folks. Are we still live? We are still live. Can you hear me? Doesn't sound like you can hear me. Are we still live? We are still live. Can you hear me? Great. Sounds like you can hear me. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to give Princess a little bit of water and myself. The driver does get some water too, the WooFDriver, that is. And going to get situated back on the bike, which is going to take us a few minutes. We'll be going in and out of frame just because of the nature of the beast. Let me get situated. And I believe it's in the front. Too many compartments on this bike, folks. Pretty? Okay. Fill it right up. Cold water. Right out of the bottle. Awesome. And I'm going to catch a drink too, folks. Excuse me for a second. Feels good. Want some more? Pretty had enough. Okay, folks. Now what we do, gonna put her back on. Some more water? Okay. Come on, my good girl. Here. She's ready to go. She's like, let's go for another walk, Dad. Good girl. What a good girl you are. Yeah. What a good girl you are. What a good girl. Okay. Now just removing the leash. Okay. Gonna attach her. Remember, this is a 3-point attachment system. Stay pretty, girl. And this keeps her secure, but gives her enough room to lay down now. Now, just looking for the last one. It's between. Oh, she's standing on it. That's why. Okay, pretty girl. I'm going to sit her down. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. It's so tight that it won't even allow her to stand up. Stay, good girl. See, she tried to stand up and it held her down. Good girl. Good girl. Always lots of praise, lots of comfort. Letting her know this is a great thing. Okay, good girl. Stay. And stay, good girl. Put this away. Going to give her one more offering of water. And I explained this before, but in case you didn't hear, it's always good to give them a few offerings of water because, especially during an activity, I'm saying at the same water stop. Because so we water them, wait a minute or two, and water them again, or 5 minutes, whatever it is. Because they can't always take in all the water they want at once because the only way they really have to cool themselves is by panting. So while they're busy panting and consuming that energy, it becomes too much for them to drink as much as they would want. So therefore, we give them an extra chance to do it. Stay. Good girl. Come on. Oh, she did get to stand up. Now I can make that tighter. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Now I'm going to put her glasses on. Okay. Sit. Good girl. Sit. What a good girl. And that just keeps the strap, as I explained, it keeps them on underneath her chin. And this keeps them on above the ears. Actually, behind the ears. So it gives a nice, secure attachment. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, there she goes. Just making sure it's comfortable for her checking her eyes, make sure they can open and close. Because you can make it too tight. It's not going to hurt them, but it's going to keep their eyes closed and wouldn't be very comfortable for them on the ride home. I want her to be able to enjoy it. There you go. Good girl. And this also, when they have the goggles on, helps keep them a little calmer because they know they're harnessed in securely and they know that they have that on. It means we're here for business. It's just like, folks, when you walk a dog versus when you put a harness on them. A harness means they're here to do work so they can pull. When you leash a dog with a collar, they shouldn't want to pull as much. They should know that this is the mode where we do our walking. Now, that being said, Huskies want to pull all the time. So usually when I train them, though, I train them to know the difference between pulling and walking, collars and harnesses. And that's pretty much what the goggles do. Lets her know, hey, we're here to do business and be serious. Stay a good girl. Now what I'm going to do is make sure we're still on a broadcast. And see how long we've been in this broadcast so I can keep it going for you. I apologize, the camera's bouncing a little. She is being so good. A good girl. Okay, let me just see where we're at, folks. Been an hour, so we can still be on here. Hi, Zula. Great. Thank you so much for giving me the feedback. Okay. I see it shaking a little. I'm going to try to stop it from shaking, but it might not be easy. Okay, everything's secure. Hopefully it'll be a little clearer on the ride. I know it's shaking right now, and that's the nature of the beast. I'm going to try to stuff some of this in. I look kind of funny, don't I? All this gear going on. Okay, good girl. Are you ready? Okay. Now, getting going helps a lot, too, because once we're moving, she realizes that we're heading out and time to relax. And hopefully she'll lay back down. And I just want to check one thing, folks. Make sure I'm on with you. Stay. Sit. Good girl. No, princess. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Sit. Hi, good girl. Now, sometimes the dogs will put their head on my shoulder as we ride. Good girl. She's seated. This is a little bumpy. She's an all. So we're headed home now, folks, and depending on how we feel, we might actually take another dog for a ride. Stay? No. Good girl. Lots of traffic, and she's sitting still. She's like, I don't want to keep these goggles on if we ain't moving, Dad. So we're gonna get rocking and rolling right about now, folks. All right, we are on the road, folks. Feeling great. This is looking great. Everybody's great. Hope you're getting to enjoy. She's got her head in the wind. She's not laying down yet. So this is about a 20-minute ride to home, and it's all good. Beautiful ride. You'll get to see, if you were with me on the way out here, you'll see the other side of the road. Might give you different views of the horses we're going to pass by, if they're still out, which they should be. I'm assuming it's before their feeding time. There she goes, folks. She is planting herself down and feeling good. And you're getting a great view of her. Whoa. She says, wait a minute. Are we stopping? I'm getting back up. Good girl, pretty. Good girl. Well, just turn around. It's a little more trying when we stop because She thinks we're going to get out and do something. And she's like, get these goggles off and let's roll. But actually, she's doing good. She's not as antsy. I see her eyes open in the goggles. Again, I look for that when I put them on to make sure it's not putting any unnecessary pressure on her too much. We're back moving, as you see.